Welcome to the craziness that is Wall Street. And as I mentioned in last week's video release, top 5 stock picks to buy before 2022, the market has been on a roller coaster ride in December, and it may not be over just yet. Welcome to MGA Investing. My name is Z. Certainly there's no surprises here in the volatility seen in the market this past month as investors scraped some cream off the top from some of their early gains this year, as well as some less experienced retail investors got a bit spooked by all the negative talk by Wall Street that left many of them jumping ship to swim for drier land. In this quick video, I wanted to touch on recent Teladoc updates and answer a few questions I had on my mind regarding Teladoc as we go into Christmas to give you some things to think about as we ride out the volatility experience over the last several months. Here's a little update on what's happening in the world of Teladoc. Jason Gorvic is once again named Modern Health's top 100 most influential people, his third time actually making the list. He also announced it's extending its partnership with the 6 million strong National Labor Alliance Healthcare Coalition. Teladoc has also been providing free 24/7 general medical health visits to those directly impacted by the tornadoes in Kentucky. With the doctor shortages happening in Japan, Teladoc's working with PHC Corporation, a leading provider of healthcare IT solutions for Japanese clinics, hospitals, and pharmacies. It's expanding its availability of Teladoc's health virtual care devices, which will allow more small or remote medical facilities provide critical specialty care amidst doctor shortages. Japan is facing multiple threats in areas of the country where they have an aging population resulting in an increased demand for medical care along with a shortage of medical specialists. Maybe not so different than what we're beginning to experience here in the U.S. Teladoc had its biggest intraday gain since January 2021 on Wednesday, December 21st. Possible reasons? Resurgence of COVID cases across the U.S., the convergence of also an increase in flu cases. Many of the early value stock chasers are creeping back in to snap up great deals. And so these are some of the reasons why we might be seeing some of the uptick and change in price. Now I'm going to answer some questions some of you may have regarding Teladoc. Now, the first question is, should I be concerned about the downturn in Teladoc stock price? Well, my answer is only if you're not buying. And I'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit later. Another question, are the fundamentals for investing in the company still holding? I believe so. When I run it through the dumb method, it still scores well. Dumb is a stock valuation method I use to gauge my interest in buying, holding, or selling a stock. Now, if you'd like to learn more about this process, you can go back and watch several of my stock analysis videos on the MGA Investing channel. In terms of a durable competitive advantage, the D in the dumb method, it continues to strengthen its durable competitive advantage in the way of economies of scale. Now, as you can see here in this business network map. Now, I'm not going to give you a detailed piece by piece as we walk through here, but I want you to get a sense of the size and the scope of the health network that they have built and kind of where it's going. In this map, we can take a look at Teladoc Health and kind of their umbrella of offerings that it has. And we can see here BetterHelp. We'll dive into each one of these just a little bit. We won't get extremely granular on here, but we'll talk about some of these. So BetterHelp, there's Teladoc itself, which people know as kind of the doctor on the screen. Healthy as You, there's MyStrength, Livongo, and InTouch. So let's just take a look at BetterHelp. So when we take a look here at BetterHelp, we can see they have a range of 20,000 plus diverse licensed and professional therapists here that cover a variety of specialties ranging from phobias, depression, eating disorders, family problems, addiction, anxiety, self-love, frontline workers, and compassion fatigue, which has become very important over this COVID period. And we can also see that they're the world's largest online counseling service. They work with various organizations, 280 million lives in organizations nationwide. They work with employers, employee-assisted programs, universities, nonprofits, brokers, consultants, cities and communities. Therapy, again, for individuals, couples, or teens. Better sleep, relaxation, and meditation music library. Not a lot of people are familiar with this. It's been over 55 million downloads so far. It also made the Apple app editor's choice at a period of time as well. Great library, massive library of songs, of music, instrumentation to help you sleep, meditate, relax. They're in over 220 different countries. and services in 44 different languages. Let's switch back, take a look at, let's move this over a little bit, back up. So we look at Teladoc itself, we can see, let me just move this around just a bit more. So we can see that within Teladoc itself, you have Medicine Direct, that's Teladoc France, Wellness Care, which deals with a variety of services, as you can see here, registered dietitians, weight management, health condition, diabetes, high blood pressure, a really big one for them, general medical, adult, children, non-emergency conditions, and then mental health consultation, therapist or psychiatrist, mental health treatment review, dermatology, essentially Telederm virtually done, specialist and expert advice, again, dermatology, subspecialists, and also local in-person connections as well. And then there's Primary 360, and that's to help organize those routine checkups, ongoing wellness needs, and referrals. When we step back out, take a look at Healthy as You, you see some of their services, cash versus insurance pricing comparison for common procedures is one of the things that they do really well. Locate lowest costs and pick up prescriptions, connect your insurance. It works on the Healthiest You app platform, and price comparison tools, very good price comparison tools, provider finder, and expert medical opinion. This is going to be a massive industry right here, and will save consumers thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. We'll switch over here, take a look at MyStrength. With MyStrength, you have counseling and wellness coaches, digital program for behavioral health, employer-based services, and vibrant emotional health or third-party connections, crisis management services, and then MyStrength Complete. And so you can see where some of these actually, they kind of blend a little bit with some of Teladoc's services, but they all help to form a more complete picture as it relates to the whole picture of health. We'll take a look at Livongo. And with Livongo, we can see 24/7 one-on-one expert coaching, high blood pressure. Again, you can see a little bit of overlap. And so how all these companies work together to complete the assessment and the treatment of the patient. Mental health, you see Livongo diabetes, connected glucometer, Dexcam, continuous glucose monitoring, diabetes prevention, weight management, connected weight scale, quick checks, and unlimited strips. And then finally, In Touch. Now this one's a big one, so I'm going to have to shrink this one down a bit. This may be harder to see, but I'll try to move us around on this a little bit. But In Touch, you have 3-time KLA award winner, so highest rated for proactive service and support. Also the highest rated vendor for clinician and patient experience. Really huge on enterprise virtual care delivery. Hospitals love this, how seamless these programs work. And then you also have Solo, the first integrated and scalable virtual care experience for providers. It is SaaS platform, end-to-end care coordination, EHR interoperability, user dashboard, single sign-on, and so forth. And it also has solutions for hospital and health systems, neonatology, virtual follow-up, stroke treatment and follow-up, virtual operating room. Really the purpose of this virtual operating room is not that they're operating virtually, but you'll have a situation where the actual operating room gets a little overcrowded. So because you might have vendors and medical reps there overseeing the procedure of the application of their particular medical device, or now you can have those people just kind of watch this remotely. And so it removes the need to have all those people in the actual operating room. Procedure consulting experts, proctoring physicians might be working with the surgeon from a distance virtually. You also have various clinical trials that are taking place, and so they're doing these procedures, and it makes it so that these things can be observed virtually. Critical care, COVID-19 infectious disease, specialty follow-up, convenient care, cardiology care, behavioral health, direct to consumer, and that's for those new patients, telehealth devices, hospital to home care, post-discharge care, integrated and scalable virtual care experiences for health systems. And so that's all part of that In Touch health system. You can see it's much more than Teladoc, which is a physician on a screen. And so a more complete look at taking care of patients' needs and doing it more economically. In terms of understanding the U in the dumb method, it's still fairly easy to understand where their revenue is coming from. So I scored an 8 on a 10 scale, understanding how it makes money. Now, in terms of management, the first M, or what I call M1, there was a slight change at the top for the CEO when David Sides joined NextGen Healthcare Inc. as a CEO back in September, but nothing much has changed in terms of the company's direction. Now, in the 5 indicators I reviewed to measure management effectiveness, it still seems to be headed in the right direction. Margin of safety, the second M, or M2, I used to help me determine the near optimum time to buy the stock based on expectations. I scored about an 8.5. I don't know if you could have found a better pricing in the last 2 years than what you've seen in the last 20 days to add to your portfolio or your current positions if it works within your balance of your portfolio weighting. Now, I know some people have concerns on whether or not they've hit a maximum market penetration rate. Well, with over 91 million patients, which represents somewhere around a little more than 30% of those insured in the US, I think there's still plenty of market share available. Teladoc has estimated a $261 billion addressable market still yet available to penetrate. That set aside, you have to begin to think about the power of distribution over a large set of numbers. And those numbers are members. The revenue growth doesn't stop because you hit a maximum market penetration rate with this type of service. Now, do I have to remind you of Apple and the iPhone? The iPhone is just a gateway tool. Many owners of iPhones purchase apps, iTunes, AirPods, Apple Watches, HomePod Minis, Apple TVs, iPads, Apple Fitness, and Apple News. Teladoc Health, like the iPhone, is just the gateway. Rewind this video and review the map of services within its health network, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Teladoc is much more than a doctor on a screen. Now I want to take a look forward a bit and discuss some concerns. Now, there's a lot I like about Teladoc, but there are some obvious challenges it faces also. Now, I've said before, in order to crack the code on this business model, it will have to continue to demonstrate its ability to attract and retain more physicians, or it could find itself in the same death loop that Uber has been in since its inception. Uber still hasn't registered a profit. Doctors want to be fairly compensated, as do Uber drivers, but in a capitalistic system such as what we have in the US, for a company, labor is typically its largest expense, which can often lead to short-term decisions by key executives that involve exploiting the labor force to squeeze out a profit for the company and its shareholders. So striking a balancing act of properly compensating highly skilled physicians to incentivize greater presence on the platform while managing costs to attract new members will be critical. But then again, look at how long Amazon ran exploiting labor before they gave in to some, at least to some extent, improving hourly wages for Amazon employees just this past year. Other concerns will be Teladoc's ability to improve their UI to make using telemedicine as easy as making a phone call, but as secure as banking for the vast majority of baby boomers, some of which may be less skilled technology users. Another area slowing down implementation is the lack of internet connectivity, as was exposed during the height of the pandemic when schools shut down over COVID-19 concerns and students in rural areas or students of lesser economic means, whether rural or metro, lacked access to reliable, affordable at-home broadband or the appropriate technology devices. COVID-19 exposed the nation's internet inequity, which exacerbated a public health crisis. It is estimated that over 42 million Americans lack cable, DSL, fiber, or wireless access to broadband speeds. Microsoft estimates were that 157.3 million people in America don't have access download speeds above 25 Mbps. An infrastructure bill passage could be a major positive to Teladoc and place another set of turbo boosters to help accelerate its member growth potential in the coming years. So clearly there are multiple problems to solve as we head down this path, but we also have to be realistic in our expectations. This has never been done before. Just like Tesla took a multi-pronged approach to develop EVs, batteries, and building out the charging network, Teladoc will have to use its scale to take a multi-pronged approach to help solve a host of foreseen and unforeseen problems that could impede the progress, because the medical companies that benefit from the status quo, whether or not it's good for the country or the world, will do everything possible to hold on to market share. I want to take some time to answer some really good questions. that were presented from recent viewers that left valuable comments because they may be some of the same questions some of you have but just didn't ask. One commenter, Stephen Go, left this comment. What do you think about the flattening member numbers? All of their revenue is coming from Livongo plus revenue per member. How do you think they will be driving growth in the next 3 to 5 years? A similar question was presented by Samuel Herkimer and a comment that he left. He says, I own Teladoc. They already have 53 million customers. Does that mean they have limited room for adding more customers in the USA? Should that be a concern? I thank both of them for watching the channel and for asking such great questions. My take is this, that the flattening member numbers are indicative of the large spike in US member growth Teladoc experienced during the heat of the pandemic. There was obviously a flattening expected as there was hope the pandemic was subsiding, which would reflect their more normal member growth rate. You have to take into account they're running on a pandemic-infused member growth number. However, it will be interesting to see how their Q4 2021 and Q1 2022 member growth numbers are impacted by the wider spread of Omicron, not to mention the next set of mutations of the virus still to come as the U.S. is only showing a 61.5% fully vaccinated rate and only 19% booster rate. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, some of Teladoc's member growth will be slightly curtailed until we have some type of infrastructure bill that passes that can help address, at least in part, the digital divide in America that I spoke of earlier. Now, I see Teladoc as a 5 to 10 year play that is simply ahead of schedule because of the pandemic. So diamond hands, well, they're required on this one. There'll be multiple opportunities over the next 5 or 10 years to take some cream off the top and preserve it and to add to your position. So in all, the business seems to be still moving in the right direction. And I'm not surprised by the percentage of total revenue of Teladoc that is contributed by Livongo. This should not be a surprise to anyone, but for some reason it still is. Teladoc Health paid a significant price to acquire Livongo, as well as several other companies. They went after scale first, and now it's time to digitally sew it all together. It won't be easy or cheap. Something of this magnitude has never been done before, so we can't expect that it'll be easy or have few missteps, but if it's done right, it will be worth it. It's sort of like they're building the plane as they're flying it. What are your thoughts about Teladoc? Do you think it's going in the right direction? Leave a comment below. Would love to hear what your thoughts are. If you found value in this video, click the thumbs up, and if you haven't already done so, click that subscribe button so you're amongst the first to get more real information about successful investing for real investors. I'll catch you in the next video.